What is up, YouTube? I'm Galdite74 here, bringing you the semifinals of the APM lower tiers. We have reached the semifinals as we did claim a bye week for the quarterfinals, and we face the winner of the quarterfinals, which is going to be Huff. Our opponent is Huff this week, coach of the New York Metangs. We finished off the regular season with a 10-1 record, while he finished off the season with a 6-5 record. Now, before I get into the actual video portion of this, I want to mention that I did scrap the top 10 that was supposed to go up last week, as hence nothing went up. I already said this on my Twitter, but if you don't have me on Twitter, the link's in the description below, but I'll say it here, that I didn't really like it and I procrastinated on that project a lot. So by the time Thursday came around, which was supposed to be like a Halloween edition thing, I didn't even like how the audio turned out. It sounded really boring, and I didn't want to give you guys a boring video for Halloween, so I just threw it out the window anyway. Plus, I have a really cool top 10 going up on Tuesday or Thursday this week that I'm going to have a lot of fun recording, because it's going to be a long one and it involves my draft career a lot more. So just a heads up about that, and make sure to be looking out for the next top 10. But anyway, in regards to this video, I'm going to give you guys a background on Huff. Huff replaced the coach in the league that was 0-4, right? And we were his first opponent in the league, and we went pretty try-hard in that game, I ain't gonna lie. And we ended up winning, and he went down to 0-5. Well, it turns out he won 6 games later, and he just squeezed into the playoffs at the end in a very dominant fashion, and he won the quarterfinals game, and now he is here. So he beat Lord the Acorn last week, and he has had an amazing comeback and win streak just replacing this team. And he's looking very scary, I'm not going to lie. And because he went try-hard last game, we have to, mix sets up this time. I can't just bring the same thing. I could, but I'm not going to. So that's just a background on Huff. Very scary opponent, and hopefully we can pull out a win here, as I'm going to go over his team now. So Huff has the exact same roster as he did last time. Huff's team consists of Crocodile, Crobat, Decidueye, Beware, Fortress, Lycanroc Day, Lantern, Barbaracle, Musharna, and Rapidash, with his Z users being Crocodile and Lycanroc Day. I would expect him to consist of Crocodile, Crobat, Decidueye, Beware, Lantern, and Barbaracle. He could bring Fortress, and he could bring Lycanroc Day. He could bring anything really, but these 6 are like the biggest starts to my team. First thing I need to mention, and the most important thing in this entire matchup, speed control. I like to be in charge of the speed control, but he does have a Crobat that actually doesn't do that bad against my team. So Crobat has the fastest speed out of everything, both my team and his team. So I need to find a way to claim that back. As you guys are going to see once I break down my team, I have a lot of ways to control the speed this week, and that's the main purpose of this whole team build I have, as I'll break down in a little bit. But that is his team. What he brought last time was actually, let me see what he brought. He brought Lycanroc Day, Crobat, Crook, Beware, Barbaracle, and Fortress. So I am expecting a similar-ish team. I do expect Lantern to come, because I'm not bringing Roserade, spoiler. And except for Roserade, Lantern, it doesn't really have a bad matchup. And even then, she can just Volt Switch out on it, and then he can just bring in something else against Roserade. So that is something I have to keep note of, and that's why I think Lantern's going to come. Other notes I've written down, Barbaracle cannot set up without being punished. I have everything on my team. Something punishes Barbaracle in a way where it cannot set up, so that is very important. Lantern can vault around my team, as I just mentioned. It's very annoying because I don't have Roserade, and I'm not switching in Rhydon on a Lantern, because duh. And finally, Togetic is my only answer to Beware. So Beware is really hard to switch into, and I can't one-shot it with anything, so I need to chip it down with Togetic. That is very important. That's why I have a second switch into Crocodile, as I'll mention in a bit, because that's also my best switch into Crocodile as well. So Togetic might be a little bit overwhelmed this battle, but hopefully I use it in a way where it's not that bad. But yes, to reiterate, the strategy is just to gain speed control, because he has it with a Crobat, and if I have speed control in this battle, I believe I can pull out. If I don't end up maintaining it, I might lose out. But that is basically the strategy of this game. The team I am rocking out with this week for the semifinals game consists of Blaziken, Mesprit, Rhydon, Togetic, Galvantula, and Licky Licky. And before I get into Blaziken, yes, this is the first game I'm not bringing Empoleon this entire season, so it's definitely a different feel, and it's going to be a little bit weird for me. But anyway, Blaziken is the first one on the team this week. Blaziken's rocking out with max attack, 176 speed with a naive nature, a little bit of HP and a little bit of attack, with the Fightinium Z, moves being Flare Blitz, High Jump Kick, Flame Charge, and Vacuum Wave. Blaziken goes in on this team. If I get a Flame Charge up, I outspeed everything that isn't Scarfed. This dual stab is really good against this team. The only mon that really takes hits consistently is Musharna, and that is it. I have the Fight Z for the Lantern, so unless it's maxed bulk, Lantern basically drops. If it's max, then it'll live, but then I will probably live a Scald back. I have High Jump Kick, so Barbarical cannot set up, and Vacuum Wave just to revenge it if it is set up. And then the Speed Control, again, the Flame Charge. If I get up to +1, I outspeed everything. But again, Blaziken goes in on this team. Fortress, it just goes in again. It's Beware, Decidueye, Crocodile, if I get a Flame Charge up, not appreciate a High Jump Kick. Everything just does not appreciate the dual stab. And I did bring Scarf last time, and I almost brought it again, but I decided this would be a little bit better, only because I saw the opportunities from Flame Charge, and there actually is a lot of them. So that's why I decided to go this route in the end. But that is going to be the Blaziken of the week. And next we get into probably my favorite set that I've ever brought this entire season. We have Mesprit. Mesprit is rocking out with the 140 attack with Modest Nature, 188 speed, a little bit of HP and defense with the Adrenaline Orb. Moves being Calm Mind, Psychic, Energy Ball, and Hidden Power Fire. Now I absolutely love this set. He's been bringing Intimidate Crocodile a lot. He brought it to my game too, so I'm thinking, okay, if I can get Mesprit in on either Beware or Fortress, I can set up a Calm Mind. He's going to be tempted to switch into Crocodile. Crocodile intimidates me, I get my Adrenaline Orb, and then Mesprit goes in. This doesn't outspeed a max speed Jolly Crobat, but I don't really expect that. This outspeeds a max speed Adamant Crobat, though, after the Adrenaline Orb. So Mesprit has a lot of opportunities to set Calm Mind, again, on Beware, Fortress, Lantern especially, because I feel like that thing's definitely going to come. A lot of opportunities to set Calm Mind, and again, I feel like he's going to just want to switch into Crocodile on the Mesprit. And once this Adrenaline Orb procs, goes in, because Psychic, Energy Ball, Hidden Power Fire is great coverage against this team. Musharna is a low-key kind of a threat because it stops a lot of my offense in this particular game. Except for that thing, nothing's really stopping this Mesprit. And if he like U-turns around with Crobat, at least I get chip on everything, so to the point where Mesprit breaks his team. And that's really the goal. Mesprit's meant to break more than clean, but if it cleans, that's also really awesome. And I really hope this works because Adrenaline Orb against Intimidate, it was just something that was the first thing I thought about when I was building this team, and I thought it would be a really cool set to bring. And that's one of the changes from the last time we faced them. I did not bring Mesprit. But that is the Mesprit for this week. Our third mon on the team is going to be Rhydon. Rhydon is rocking out with the Eviolite. All that good EV investment. It's all meant for something. Moves being Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Avalanche, and Fire Punch. Avalanche is here because if I send in Rhydon on Crobat, he's probably going to be tempted to the U-turn. So that will double the power of Avalanche. And if he switches out into anything, Avalanche is going to do a decent chunk of damage, basically. Unless he goes out in the Lantern, but he's risking an Earthquake that way. Earthquake is for the Barbarical. Again, cannot let that thing set up. I do live a max attack Liquidation, so that's pretty cool. If Rhydon's not that important, I'm probably just going to stay in and click Earthquake on a Barbarical. That's if it's not important, of course. But that is Rhydon. It does a lot. It rolls a lot of his team, like Lycanroc Day, Rapid Dash are really two good examples. Crobat, if it's not Giga Drain, but I don't think he's going to have the room for Giga Drain on a set. I can switch into Fortress, get my own rocks up. If he wants to hazard stack, I at least can get rocks up back on his side. Hazards don't really bother my team too much, hence that's why I don't have Defog on this team this week. So that's why I don't really mind that happening. But Rhydon, really good overall this week. I hopefully puts in some work. I'm a little bit scared because it does give Decidueye somewhat of a free switch in if I click Earthquake, so I just have to keep that in note. But that's Rhydon. Our fourth mon of the week is going to be Togetic. Togetic is rocking out the Eviolite, max HP, max defense with the Bold Nature, moves being Dazzling Gleam, Ancient Power, Toxic, and Roost. Toxic for the Barbarical. I keep mentioning that in every mon, but Barbarical cannot set up. It's very important. Dazzling Gleam is very good. It's spammable against this team. Fortress can switch in, but Fortress isn't really a big problem for my team, as I can just switch into basically anything else. I have Ancient Power for the Rapidash, so if I need to switch into Rapidash if Rhydon's dead, I still have Togetic. I can Ancient Power, and if I get a boost, then Togetic's going to be really hard for my opponent to kill. This is a good switch into Decidueye as well, barring he's not Substitute Decidueye. That could be a little bit scary for my Togetic, but I do have Toxic for that, and his team just hates Toxic in general. Except for Crobat, and then Crobat I still have the Rhydon to switch into, so Togetic's meant here just Toxic Span, D-Gleam, Roost, just being annoying Togetic. It's basically the standard set I've been bringing, and it's a Beware switch in. Fifth mon on the team is going to be our Choice Scarf Galvantula with max speed and max special attack. Moves being Sticky Web, Volt Switch, Thunder, and Bug Buzz. This outspeeds a max speed Jolly Barbarical at +2. So that was like, even though I keep emphasizing how I can't let Barbarical set up, even if it does set up, I still have a way around it, as this is my way around it. Volt Spam is pretty good against this team. I do have to be careful with the Lantern and the Crook, though I don't see him actually switching in Crocodile on my Galvantula because I have Bug Buzz. And Bug Buzz is also pretty spammable against my opponent outside of the Fortress and the Crobat, and he's not going to switch in Crobat on a Galvantula, and Fortress is not going to really appreciate a Volt Switch or a Thunder. So based on his team comp, I can decide what my win con will be in Galvantula, whether it be the Volt Switch or the Bug Buzz route or Thunder route, the Electric or Bug route, that's it. And if I find webs really necessary, I'm going to throw them up. They're not really key, but it's another way to control the speed a bit if I want to. They're not the most important, but it's mainly if Lycanroc or Crook become out of hand a bit. That's why I have the webs as an option. But that is the Galvantula. And then finally we have Licky Licky rocking out with max HP, max defense with the Relaxed Nature, holding the leftovers. Who is being wished, Toxic, Earthquake, and Ice Beam. I needed the dual attacking because I need to be able to hit everything on his team somewhat. Toxic Spam again, very good. And I didn't really need Protect because Crocodile is doing absolutely nothing to this thing, to be completely honest. And this is my switch into Crocodile if Togetic is very important in the game, because I can just, Toxic, Wish Up, Ice Beam, whatever, all that good stuff. Licky Licky is an all-purpose Mon. It can do basically anything and do anything against one Mon. It just can't be overwhelmed. So I have to pick. I basically get to pick what Licky Licky does in the game. That's why I like this Mon in this matchup, and that's why I chose it over Empoleon in the end. And it's, again, a little more uncomfortable for me because I like using Empoleon a lot, but I think Licky Licky is going to do a little bit of a better job in this game. But that is the team I am bringing. That is probably a really long team builder because I had a really long introduction there as well, so I apologize. But we're going to head over to Pokemon Showdown, and we're going to watch the semifinals game. Alright, we have arrived at Pokemon Showdown, and he did not bring the Crobat, which absolutely blows my mind. But because of that, Bug Buzz plus Blaziken is looking pretty good in this game. In regards to leads, I am going to lead off with Rhydon because I want to try and get rocks up, and the only thing that can really OHKO me is Lantern and Special Decidueye, and Rhydon isn't looking too important in this game, so that's why I do that. As you're going to see here, he unfortunately leads with the Lantern, so this is worst case scenario. I'm going to switch on to Licky Licky. He could click Volt Switch, but he actually clicked Scald, so I do make the right play in the end. Scald would have knocked out Rhydon, so basically now I'm going to cut off a Toxic because nothing on his team appreciates the Toxic, as Lantern is going to Volt out and go into Crook. So I do get a Toxic off on this Crook, so it is now on a timer. I also learned that this Crook is not Intimidate, so Mesprit cannot take advantage of this. This is fine because Licky Licky can deal with this Crocodile rather well, as he just throws up rocks, and that sort of tells me that this is probably going to be a Z-move Crook, as I'm going to click Wish this turn because I at least can get some health back in the future because of it. As you're going to see here, he does pop the Z-move. He could have switched out as well, but Wish still was an all-around good play, as the Z-move only does 44%. And at this point, I'm thinking I can click Toxic this next turn because either Crook dies to Toxic or something else gets poisoned, as he does switch out into the Beware, and I do land my Toxic, and this is a great exchange for me. We're 5 turns in, and except for the first turn, every turn has gone my way so far. I am going to switch out into the Togetic now because it is my dedicated switch into this thing, as he does click the Bulk Up. This is a little bit scary because he can probably two-shot me because of the rocks, so I'm going to click Roost just to try and get some Toxic Chip on this thing a little bit more, as he does end up clicking Bulk Up here. So that kind of sucks because now this thing could probably still 2-KO me, as the Roost was kind of meaningless, but whatever. Beware's taking more toxic damage. And now I'm going to click Declean this turn as he clicks Return, and it does half. I could have clicked Roost, but I didn't want to be like that guy, so Declean still does a really big chunk of damage. So now here I'm thinking Togetic has done its job. I'm willing to risk my Togetic for this Beware, as I do stay in, you see, and I was going to risk the roll as I click Roost, because worst case scenario, if he switches out, I'll be back up to basically full health, as this Beware is not going to survive a round of Toxic. And at this point, Licky Licky might have gotten that kill, but Togetic put in so much work here, as he goes down to Barbaracle, and I click Declean, try and get some chip on it, but he goes down to Crook, and I'm not really sure what the thought process was there, but it works out for me. Crook goes down, and Togetic, again, putting in the finest of work. Musharna comes out. This is just a free Toxic for me. As I throw it off, I do connect another Toxic, which is great, as he sets up Light Screen. And my mind immediately went, okay, he's going to try and switch in Barbaracle here. I'm going to click Declean just to get some chip on it, at least on the switch in. But Huff's got good prep. He has Baton Pass, and he's going to get the slow Baton Pass out of there. Now, I need to hit my 4th Toxic of the game. I need to hit this because of the Light Screen. And if I don't hit it, this Barbaracle could possibly sweep my team. So, do I hit the Toxic? The answer is yes. I do hit my Toxic, and that is really big because without that Toxic, this thing could have just swept my team. Now he sets up another Shell Smash, which is actually really good for me because it gives him an extra round of Toxic, and then Decleam is going to do more because of the defense drop. So here at this point, I'm willing to sack my Togetic, as I mentioned, and Togetic is going to get blown back. It did a fantastic job this game. I'm very happy with it. Because of the light screen, I cannot kill a Vacuum Wave, so Rhydon is going to have to be my next sack of choice. Again, Rhydon wasn't doing too much. It is going to be blown back by this Liquidation. So Barbaracle is putting in work against my team, but this is basically the last big threat to my team. As now I can send out Blaziken and click Vacuum Wave because it will knock it out. But he does switch out into the Decidueye, preserving the Barbaracle, which is fine because Barbaracle is never going to be able to set up on me again. As now I do reveal that I am not Choice Scarf as I click Flare Blitz this turn, and I do knock out the Barbaracle. Which is kind of nice because it's a water rock type and quad resistant. Barbaracle's kind of fat, so I'm pretty impressed that it killed. But anyway, he goes on to Lantern. I do have a Z move exactly for this reason, and it is my only mana I can really pop a Z on at this point. So I do pop the all out pummeling and do a load of damage to this Lantern. This Lantern does show to be defensive as it does live the hit, though I do live Scald because of this. I do click Flare Blitz this turn just in case he did go out to the Decidueye, as he does. And I do a huge amount of damage to this thing. This is Aqua Berry, so it is going to live the hit. And I'm going to die to Recoil, but that was a fantastic turn. Because of this turn, Galvantula's Bug Buzz basically sort of cleans up this game, as it does knock out the Decidueye here. Lantern can live it, and at this point I'm thinking the smarter play here I do make is go out into Licky Licky and play it slow, but realistically, knowing Musharna is Light Screen and Baton Pass so far, I don't think it's going to be a calm mindset at this point, especially because it is on a timer of Toxic. So I do, again, I reiterate, I am going to slow pace this out. I do get burnt, so it does slow pace it a little bit more now, as Earthquake's only going to do 21% here. But again, I do this because I didn't want to lose Galvantula and Musharna still be around, because my Mesprit and Licky Licky can't really touch it, and God forbid it pulls out some wacky stuff. But that's just me being paranoid because, again, Light Screen, Baton Pass, he's probably going to have Reflect and then maybe Psychic. But at that point, honestly, Mesprit basically beats that set. But again, to reiterate, just for the third time, I think, that I'm just going to click Earthquake. At this point in the chat, he actually told me that he really couldn't touch me, and that's when my mind sort of clicked that, oh, okay, this Musharna can't, there's no way this Musharna can beat my team, so I'm just going to click Earthquake. As Lantern does live on 1% here, so I do have to go through one more turn of this. But I am going to spoil it for you guys. We are going to win this game. Your Northside Noiverns are going to move on to the finals of the APM lower tiers. We did make the APM finals in the regular season, as that was on the channel a few months ago, and we did lose in that game. And we actually are 0-3 in finals games. So this next game is going to be a rather big one. I'm going to finish out the game here. At this point, I do speed up the process as I just click Bug Buzz a few times. I switch hard into Galvantula as he just sets up screens. So yeah, just a few more Bug Buzzes, and your Northside Noiverns are going to win 3-0 against Huff. So this is the last turn, and Musharna goes down. So GG to Huff. One more time, as I had mentioned, we are going to move on to the APM lower tiers finals, as we are going up against Savage King. There is going to be a graphic on screen to show you how the playoffs have broken down. It's actually a really nice graphic. I like it a lot. We are going to face off against Savage King. This is a very poetic way to end off the lower tiers, as we did face him week 1 of the APM, and our only loss is against him so far. So it is going to be very nice, as we're going to start off our season against Savage King, and now we're going to end it against Savage King. It's going to be one hell of a battle. It is going to go up next either Sunday or Tuesday, depending on when we actually do battle. So just keep a big eye out for that. One more time, GG to Huff. Thank you for the battle so much. I really enjoyed our 2 battles we've had, and hopefully we get to face again in the future, whether it be the APM or any other league. So big shout out to my man Huff. That is basically going to be it for this video. That's basically it. Next week we have Savage King. A top 10 goes up throughout the week sometime. And yeah, that's it. So thank you guys for watching so much. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you like Pokemon Draft League content, consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to head out of here. Have a fantastic day, YouTube.